Welcome to your daily writing habit, episode number 173. If you're writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing a book but you're having some trouble getting it done, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., I-N-K. So christine-inc.com. You can find me there. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn someone who doesn't even really consider themselves a writer into an author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Zig Ziglar. All right. Well, good morning and happy October. If you're listening to this episode live on its release day, it is Tuesday, October 1st. That means we're looking at a roughly 90-day countdown to the end of 2019. So rather than seeing that as a reason for becoming anxious, let's use it as a reason to celebrate your writing victories from the year so far. Because really, no victory is too small to be deserving of a party or even just, a little fist pump, some sort of acknowledgement. And then use all that celebratory momentum that we gained today to get us through to New Year's 2020, which is, as we know, not just a new year, but a new decade in your life as an author. So let's do this thing. First, let's go back and see if you can remember the goals you set this year, your 2019 writing goals. Maybe you wrote them down somewhere. Maybe you had just a vague recollection and you can kind of jot them down now from memory, or maybe you did a vision board. So, write down every single thing you did toward making those goals happen, no matter how small. So first, try and recall the goals that you set, the writing goals that you set for the year, even if it was a very vague goal of, I'm going to write a book this year. Totally valid, totally cool, because now what we're going to do is we're going to write down every little thing you did towards making that happen. And when I say little, any step is not too small. Like maybe you joined my Inc. authors group on Facebook, that counts. Maybe you joined my paid group coaching program or even thought about it, Writers Club Live, that counts too. Another program with, a writing group or author group on Facebook, maybe you joined that, totally cool. Maybe you joined an author writing group on LinkedIn. Maybe you got an accountability partner. Maybe you started reading books on how to write a book and started kind of looking into the publishing industry. Any little thing you did, write down all those things so you can acknowledge yourself, because every step you take, you're declaring your intention to move forward as an author. And a declaration is a powerful thing. And it's most powerful when paired with actions, which is why we're going to celebrate all your actions today. Next, look at all the productivity, all the productive writing and creative habits you've put in place in 2019 so far. So all your productive writing and creative habits. That means, maybe you prioritized reading books. So maybe you've read more books this year. Maybe you've been writing and journaling a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit more than what you did last year. Maybe you trained yourself to unplug as you write. That's a big theme that I talk about here when I talk about productivity here in your daily writing habit is unplugging. Turn your devices off, all the things that beep and make noise and distract us and tell us that people like us. You're okay without that while you write. So maybe you did that. Maybe you just did it a few times just to see what it would be like. Maybe you set aside specific creativity or brainstorming time. So acknowledge yourself for all the productive writing and creative habits that you've either set in place or maybe just even taken baby steps towards setting in place this year. Now, take both of those lists, find the things that have been working best for you in 2019, or maybe that you're just the most intrigued by, where it's like, started setting this habit in place, didn't hate it, wasn't awful. Maybe that's a keeper. And so what you're going to do now is commit to really digging in, locking in those things. So locking in those actions and habits, whether, reading books, unplugging while you write, setting a certain word count that you're going to write every year. Maybe if you joined, if you joined an author group like Inc. Authors on Facebook, maybe you'll commit to, participating there and being more engaged with your fellow authors. So just, find out what's worked for you and really dig in and find a way to do it more, to try to go all in on it between now and the end of 2019. So in the next 90 days. And then, include all of those things in your 2020 vision plan. So however you set up your 2020 goals, sometimes people just write it down. Sometimes I know people have, elaborate goal planning systems when it comes to the new year. However you're setting up your 2020, make sure these actions that you either were successful in your writing or simply were intrigued by in your writing, make sure these actions and habits make it into your 2020 plan. Because what you're going to do then is you're going to take all of those actions and move them to the next level. So if you've unplugged a few times while you were writing this year, maybe you'll do it on a regular basis. If you've read a few books this year, maybe you'll read a book every month next year. Maybe, you hit the journal and put a few hundred words down every once in a while this year. Maybe you'll do that, just buy the book every week next year. So take everything you've done this year, everything that's been working for you, everything that you've been enjoying, and plan to bring it to the next level for 2020, which is very exciting. Use this new year, this new decade as a time to up your game and get even more results in the process. So finally, look at the actions you've taken in your writing, which also means developing your book, publishing, marketing, promoting your writing habits. Beyond that, all the actions and habits you've been doing consistently in your life, and realize, and this is an important thing right here, so listen to this part. Everything you've been doing, everything that you do every day, every action, every habit, everything that you are consistently doing, that is what you have committed to in your life. Hate to say it, the bad stuff too. Whatever you do in your life on a regular basis is what you have committed to. And look at those commitments and ask how you feel about it and what needs to change. And there's a quote by one of my authors, Russell Redenbaugh, and he has really dialed in this idea of, what you've committed to is what you're doing every day. And here's his quote. What are you committed to having in your life in the near and long term? What have you been committed to in your life until this point? Look at what you have in your life. That is what you have committed to until now. Are you satisfied with that? Or are there changes that need to be made? So that's today's beginning of the month, heading towards the end of the year, October 1st message. What are you committed to? What writing and creativity habits are you committed to in your life? And what are you going to do about that moving into 2020? Thank you for tuning in. Be sure and drop by my Inc. Authors group. Kind of talked about that a little bit today. Inc. Authors on Facebook for motivation, accountability, book writing, publishing resources, and more. Thank you for joining me here on your daily writing habit, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And if you know someone else who wants to write a book, please share this episode with them. Thank you very much. And until tomorrow, happy writing.